Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ruby Summer Rose Court. To recap where we left off last time, Ruby, Blake, and Glinda discovered a secret laboratory underneath the Rose Castle, and from there we discovered Penny, the Bay, finally. And we learned that Penny is an automaton who has the ability to have an aura, and that she was built to channel the power of Crescent Rose despite not being a living and breathing Rose Monarch. And the reason why she was locked down in the dungeon was because she was accused of murdering a previous Rose Monarch by the name of Edubige. And unfortunately, upon returning to the surface, Penny discovered that the wounds she had were in fact quite serious, and she was taken away to receive medical attention, overseen by Weiss, who was quite familiar with automaton science. And now we're going to the library to talk more about this with Ozpin. We make our way to the other end of the castle. Blake is sitting at one of the tables, poring over a pile of black folios. Upon seeing me, Blake stands up straight. Ruby? Though her tone is calm, I can see her tail whipping from side to side, betraying her anxiety. Oobleck was right about the escape route, I take it. More or less, the trapdoor led to a cavern that was refurbished into a laboratory. I see. It's good to see you're safe, at least. I was about to discuss what happened with Ozpin. You're welcome to sit in. Of course. Ozpin settles into an armchair, parchment and ink ready. A page brings me fruit juice, snacks, and some of my favorite sweets. Of course. With some food inside me, my trembling ceases somewhat, and I find I can think clearer. I explain what had happened, this time in detail instead of the rushed accounts from earlier. The ruined lab turned twisted theater, Mixiane gasp, and Blake narrow her eyes. Ozpin silently records my account into his report with only a slight tilt of his eyebrows, betraying any reaction to the events. When I'm finished, he sets his quill down and folds his hands atop one another. We should send a team to survey as soon as we can. I'll help. You're pretty eager. Miss Belladonna has been investigating documents discovered in the study. We believe they are records of experimentation on people, primarily the faunus. That's the kind of research that went into building Penny? Just like those dossiers Blake found. We'll need your help, Blake. Awful things have been buried, and I want to set them right. Blake nods at me, her expression a little softer. We will also need to recover the remains of Queen Edubige and make proper funerary arrangements. The owner of the study and the laboratory was her uncle, right? It was all written down in this diary of his. Back then, the Rose lineage was a lot more robust. She could have had a lot of uncles. It's true, she did, but she only had a few of direct royal blood. It shouldn't be difficult to trace the records to find who was responsible. I'm responsible. I'm the last Rose, so whatever problems this ancestor of mine created, I've got to fix it. Ruby. The next item is Ruby takes a nap. Yang. It's probably not a bad idea. Not you too. Agreed. You should take the opportunity to rest. You'll be the first to know when there's an update on Penny's condition. Yeah, damn straight. Fine. With that, Ozpin folds the report, now several pages long, and the meeting is over. Blake gives me a polite nod as I leave, still occupied with the folios. As I collapse on the bed, my thoughts turn to Penny. Yeah. Is she okay? Was Weiss able to figure out those old research notes in time? I should have gone to check on her. I should have done more. I see someone. A figure. Her eyes are black and red. It's like greeting someone you met a long time ago, how you remember their voice but not their face. Like relearning the scent of roses after a lifetime of arid desert winds. She turns away from me, and I am dragged forward on an invisible leash. My guts twist. Something wrong is in my domain. I prowl my castle walls, wary and alert, my limbs aching after so long a sleep. I look into the throne room and see the usurper deep in discussion with that wandering witch. I sneer in disgust, as he pauses mid-sentence, an unsettled look across his face. Good, I think, and I move on. I see the flame wandering the halls, frowning in thought. I do not greet her. I see the shadow in the library, head in her hands. I ignore her. I see cold steel, cleaning her tools of filth and slick chemicals. I look elsewhere. On the workbench, I see it, the source of my aching. I see the imposter. Its eyes open slowly, and its hand rises, testing the sealed wound at its belly. Then it looks at me. It knows me. That blood is not your own. I know. And if giving it back were to bring my friend back, I would. But I didn't get to choose. If you harm my current vessel, if one drop of rose blood spills to the earth because of your actions, then it will be only after I am broken beyond hope of recovery. I am but a servant of the Rose Throne, her servant. And yours. Please. I could reach out now and snuff out this imposter. Choke the weed before the weed chokes the rose. No. Perhaps you are not a weed, but not a true rose either. You are nothing yet. Whatever you are to be, I know that I am watching you. Ugh. So I think we just assumed the point of view of Crescent Rose. Like, she called Ozpin the usurper, and she sees Penny as, like, an imposter, like, because she is not a living and breathing Rose Monarch, but yet she can still access the powers of Crescent Rose. So that's very interesting. Ugh. That felt too real to be a dream. Another vision? Ugh, leave me alone. 5 more minutes. Understood. Thanks. Wait, Penny? She's here. She's okay. My eyes snap open and I shoot up. Sure enough, Penny is there at my bedside. She's okay. Whoever is at my door knocks louder, more insistent. I'll go get that. Before I can respond, Penny opens my bedroom door. It's Yang, freezing mid-knock. Ruby, that Penny's girl's gone Queen Ruby has decreed that she will be allowed 5 more minutes of rest. Okay, but Weiss was... Penny shuts the door just as promptly as she opened it and moves to sit at the chair beside my desk. Penny? 4 minutes 40 seconds remain. Please rest, Your Majesty. I will make sure you are not interrupted in the meantime. Forget about me for a second. What about you? You're feeling better? Penny seems a little startled at the question. Oh yes, my condition has improved considerably. Sershni was most capable. My energy levels and fluctuation rates seem to be much more stable. She has expressed a desire to perform further work later, but as I was in functioning condition, I decided to look for you. She said you were okay to be walking around? Oh, I did not have the opportunity to ask. So you just walked off? Penny, I think Yang was looking for you. Oh. Let's go tell everyone you're alright. You still have 3.5 minutes. Oh, she's so cute! Her response is a little quick and she's fidgeting. She really does wear her heart on her sleeve. Something bothering you? Yes. It is difficult to put in words. Sershni did a wonderful job, but I can already feel it being undone. What do you mean? It is as if I am an hourglass, and my sand is seeping from a crack I cannot see. My aura is still draining. Weiss wasn't able to fix it? But she did. Now I'm the same as everybody else. My lifespan is limited. I'm winding down, little by little. How much longer do you have? It's hard to predict. I'll probably still be here tomorrow, but I can't be sure. But then again, you might not be here tomorrow. We can't be sure of that either. But you lived for so many years inside the box. Lived? In a box? I think I was always dying. A little bit. There was so much I don't know, but at the very least, I know what living is. To see the sky, to go where I choose, to hold your hand. That's certainly not dying. 1.5 minutes of rest left, by the way. I've rested enough. There's no need to waste time, right? I want to introduce you to the rest of my summer rose court. How does that sound? Sensational. Man. So she's dying. God damn it, that's really sad. But even then, she smiles for Ruby. It's so pure. It's a new day. What do you want to do? I think the day before yesterday, we actually opened the portal to Mishklas, and that's where we recruited Weiss. And then yesterday, we took a trip to the minor portals, and then went to the dungeon. So today we probably should open a portal to another plane. Like, there's a selfish part of me that wants to stay in the castle to, like, talk to Penny and see if she's alright and, like, get to know her more. But, for the fight against the Grimm, I believe time is of the essence, so we probably should try to stay on track and open another portal today. So, we're to open a portal today. If you want, you can bring 3 of your court members with you. Only 3? That's kinda dumb. These are the conditions that the wizards agree to in order to let us view the major portals. 3, huh? So that means you, Glinda, and... I would strongly urge you to pick either Yang, Blake, or Weiss. You've already grown quite close to them, I've noticed. And so I'm sure choosing one of these decisions furthers a potential romance with a certain character. I would like to bring Penny, but she's not on the list, and she's probably still recovering. And also going back to maintaining healthy relationships with our court members, I think we recently went down to the dungeon with Blake, so that's probably fresh in our mind. Our bond with Yang is pretty good. I hope that's safe to say. But I don't think we've done anything with Weiss yet, so let's try to bring her on. Leaving early in the morning, we arrive at the Curia with an equal mix of trepidation and excitement. I wanted to bring Penny along too, but given her connection to Crescent Rose, Ozpin thought it might be a bad idea. There was no telling how her aura might interfere with the portals. Thank you for allowing me to accompany you this time, Your Majesty. Exiting Mishklas and arriving outside the Curia walls was a bit of a disappointment. How come? I wanted to see how the portals looked from this side. Yeah, we treat them differently here. Your portals are right in the middle of your training field. Isn't that reckless, by the way? What if a dust bomb goes off in the wrong place? Those were our minor portals, Your Majesty. Easily replaceable. Oh. Just as your mages don't want strangers entering right into the heart of the Curia, we likewise have specific portals for visitors to exit and enter. Outside the Curia walls, I can see construction for minor portals has begun. An automaton walks through a completed portal bearing a Schnee snowflake on its chest. So taking away the Mishklas exile truly did warm them to us. How fortunate. My father is still on the other side of the portal. He wouldn't leave me to fend for myself, no matter what the Duke says. As we watch, waiting for the main gates to open, I feel a small ripple of surprise as a human walks right through one of the minor portals. Whoa. So it's that easy now, huh? You made that possible, Ruby. With the major portals open, we can begin crafting exit points for those coming in this direction. It's easier to maintain a bonfire than to ignite it. How long did the major portals stay open after my parents died? 10 weeks. A rattle of stone and wet earth lets us know that the Curia doors are about to open again. The mages let us in, and the ceremony begins once we are ready. So we've already visited Mertnaster and secured Weiss. This is Lan Ze Hua. This is Ren, obviously. And then this portal is Akawang? That's probably really not how to pronounce it. And this is probably, most likely, I should say, Pyrenees. But if I remember correctly, there was something said up very specifically about this one. How, like, maybe they were distant to us for some reason? I'm not sure. I don't really remember anything about this portal. Well, since I have a certain feeling about this one, I guess we'll save it for last in case my memories point to this being like a more challenging portal to access right now. So let's go visit Ren first. I want to open Lan Ze Hua. The dragon monks were always reliable, if distant. You'll have to earn their trust again after such an extended silence. The last time the portals opened, your parents were king and queen. They might be nervous about the change in power. Personally, I look forward to being among like-minded individuals again. Okay. The mage, not the same one as last time, takes another sample of my blood, and he moves forward the portal. The mage, not the same one as last time, takes another sample of my blood, and he moves towards the portal. Again, I feel that tension building inside me, the fibers of my body getting stretched out and pulled. Something bigger than me is trying to occupy the same space as me, and there is nowhere for it to go. A little more, just a little more. Fear piles on me. On top of the physical stress of opening the portal, it's crushing. With my free hand, I clutch onto Glinda's robes for dear life, unable to help the gasp that escapes me. Rose? A voice. There's a voice. In my head, I can hear it. Crescent Rose. It wants me to open the portal. Crescent Rose isn't a person, Ruby. It's not real. The warmth of his hand covers my shoulder. Just like you thought your visions were nightmares. Your mind is processing strange information the only way it can. No, you don't understand. The power leaves me as a rush, cutting me off mid-sentence. I feel Crescent Rose leave me like the waves receding, funneling through that string into the open portal. I'm torn between relief and loss. When the mage gives his tug to let us know he's returning, I resolve that this time I won't collapse. Ozpin keeps a firm hold on my shoulder, squeezing it tight. Be strong, it's almost over. Too stressed to reply, I just grunt something that I hope sounds like an agreement. The mage steps through the portal. Job complete, Crescent Rose reverberates back to me, tearing its way through my bloodstream. As it settles back into my veins, I resist the overwhelming urge to faint. I rip the yarn from my wrist as soon as I can. Are you all right? Fine. I'm fine. Let's go through the portal as soon as I catch my breath. Squatting down, I struggle to remember what it felt like to breathe without effort. Just let us know when you're ready. All the gates only have one thing in common, the veins of crystals coursing through the ancient stones. Right now they hum in power, the sheen of solid light stretching from ground to tip, inviting me inside. Phew. Okay. Nervous? A little, but it's nothing I haven't done before. Now that Lord Ozpin is in better health, he'll be joining us, right? Ozpin beams at me in approval, but as he steps forward, Glinda lifts up her wand, smacking it across his chest and stopping him in his tracks. Lord Ozpin will stay here, if he values his well-being. That sounds an awful lot like a threat, my lady. It was. Either way, it will be bad for your health to ignore my warning and go through that portal. You know the gate to Heping is more demanding on the traveler than any other gate. Were you of a hardier constitution, I would have no issue. He sighs. You're right, of course. I'll hold down the fort here until your return. And... wait. My traveling companion puts a hand on my shoulder, head tilted, listening carefully. Do you hear that? Hear what? The Curia is empty and quiet. Never mind, I thought it just sounded like... I think that was an Ursa. Suddenly, Ozpin shifts so that he is in front of me, backing me away from the portal and keeping his body between me and any danger. She's right. I can hear it too. Around us, the mages gather in closer. All eyes are on the portal. Glinda pulls out her wand, eyes narrowing in concentration. Something is coming through the gate. Be cautious. Could be friend or foe. Baffled, I ready my glaive and everyone takes a few steps back, making a clear path for whatever is coming through. I thought you said the wizards can control where a person exits. The portals are an often inscrutable and mysterious magic. That means she's as stumped as you are. Be quiet and summon up your semblance. It's here. It's an Ursa. With blood in its mouth. Oh. The Ursa crashes through the gate right into the heart of the Curia. Brilliant white light crackles around it as it pushes through the frame, roaring and leaving scorching claw marks on ancient redwood. Oh no! A pulse of energy flares up inside me, and I rush forward, pushing past Ozpin to attack the beast. Sliding in low, I thrust up, driving my blade through the Ursa's unarmored stomach. Your Majesty, stay back! Let the wizards handle this. Singing metal and shimmering dust explode underneath the Ursa's feet. Weiss steps forward, a song on her lips. She summons a shining glyph that propels the Ursa several yards away from the portal. On second thought, you seem to be handling it just fine. A sharp crack of thunder rips through the air. Though the skies above are clear, I can see mist beginning to emanate out through the gate. More Grim! He pulls at the end of his cane, revealing it to be a sheath for a long, straight blade. Taking up a fencing stance, he and Glinda stand together as more wizards join the battle. One by one, a small horde of Grim stampede through the gates, howling and screaming their inhuman war cries. Spitting out curses and spells, the wizards send a flurry of attacks to strike the Grim down. But for every Grim that falls to the floor, two more squeeze through the portal's frame. How do we close the portal? We don't. Not yet. There are a lot of them, but they're bottlenecked here. So we have the advantage. 3 are encircled around Ozpin, a pack of Beowulfs. I blink, and in the next instant all 3 are beheaded. Wiping the black blood from his forehead with one sleeve, Ozpin catches my eye and grins at me. Think of it this way. Do you feel like opening a portal twice in one day, Ruby? Good point. He's so fast. I didn't even see him move. Here comes more of them. Out of the way! I got this! I think that's Nora. Lightning flashes so close there is no pause between the strike and the deafening sound that follows. Another Ursa comes careening out of the gate, lightning erupting from its back as it staggers across the Curia grounds, roaring. It falls down, rolling over to reveal a person clinging to its back for dear life. For glory! Lightning rips down from the sky, striking the Ursa right over the skull. It collapses forward, the warrior balancing on its back with a warhammer lifted over her head. Definitely Nora. When she brings it down for the final blow, another bolt of lightning makes contact with her hammer at the same time, filling her with a terrible light. Channeling through her body, it funnels out through her attack. The Grim disintegrates under the force of her incredible semblance, blowing up in a splatter of black paint. No more Grim come through the gate. Hunched over her kill, the warrior stands still, breathing raggedly. What in the world? Striding forward, Glinda reaches the warrior before anyone else, her wand still at the ready. You are not a dragon monk of Heping. How did you have access to the portals? The warrior's head twitches up, her eyes flicking to our weapons. Standing a little straighter, she focuses her attention on the new possible threat. Tell me your name first, stranger, and I'll tell you mine. Before anything else happens, I run to stand beside Glinda. Taking my cue from her, I keep my weapon drawn as well. I'm Ruby Rose, Queen of Vale. Why did Grim come through the portal, and who are you? I am... Nora! Oh, look at that character sprite, that's really cool. She's got like the whole Viking thing going on. Interim Chief, scoot abreast of Valkyrie, longboat captain. When we heard you ringing, the dragon monks opened up the portals. Struck by the realization of where she is, Nora does a double take, scanning the Curia with an open mouth. Oh no! This is your secret, isn't it? I'm not supposed to be here. Only your monks get to see your big portals, the fighters go through the little ones. Covering her eyes with her filthy hands, she ducks her head low. Her body twists as she wriggles in place. You're fine. Just tell us what happened. And she seems to be like a more stocky and more muscular than she is in the canonical show. So that's also another interesting interpretation. Peeking through her fingers, she dares another glance around. Well, like I said, the dragon monks opened up the portal because they heard you ringing yours somehow. And I was allowed to join in because I was a special guest. She makes a face as she wipes away the grim muck from her cheeks, rubbing it off on the pelt and leather that made up most of her armor. Most of it is already dissolving anyway. Dissolving away, turning into smoke like all grim bodies do. I just follow the grim because that's what I do. I guess I should have paid more attention to where I was following them. But they were everywhere. You can't keep a cool head in a fight that big. Ignorant of the rest of us staring at her aghast, Nora shakes her head, sweat splattering off her like a wet dog. Oh my gosh, this is disgusting. Did you see how its head went squish? Wait, what did you just say? Squish? No, before that. Heping is under attack? Her eyes widen. Nora claps both hands over her cheeks. Oh no, that's right. I better get back as quick as I can. That's pretty badass. Locking eyes with me for a moment, Nora quirks her head to the side. She gives me a once-over. Red Queen? Then her hammer leaps back into her hand, a crackle of electricity marking it as another function of her impressive semblance. Goodbye! Turning her back on us, Nora hurtles headlong through the portal, taking her swirling mists and clouds back with her. Wait! I reach out, but she's already gone. Oh boy. Okay then, time to go. I'm right behind you. Ruby Rose, don't you dare! Twirling little thorn once over my head, I charge headfirst through the portal. Yeah! I totally heard that in Ruby's voice. Just, that's so her. And we're on the other side. The unsettling ripple of going to another plane vibrates me out of my skin. But when I land on the other side, it subsides. Weiss travels in right after me. At once we are thrust into chaos. So many Grimm. I don't even have the time to take a good look at my surroundings before a pack of them are on me. Your Majesty, keep them at range. The power inside me settles into place, satisfying, like gears clicking together. Stretching out a hand, I blast away any Grimm who come too close. A funnel of wind surrounds us, giving Sershni time to warm up her spell. I can't keep this barrier up for much longer. I only need a few more seconds. A clear note rings out, her voice sounding like a silver bell. A glyph appears at the end of her sword before hovering over her head. She quickly makes another. On your order. I let the winds die down. Drop 'em! 10 dozen razor-sharp icicles explode outward from the glyphs, each one piercing through at least 2 grim bodies before lodging themselves into the ground. That was more than she could do before. Spinning around Crescent Rose, amplifying her semblance too? Magic and powerful semblance rock the earth under our feet, smashing up as stalagmites in sudden, gaping chasms. The mist is less present here, swept up and evaporated by the intensity of the battle, but I can hear the boom and thunder and the shouts of many fighters. Nora passes my way once or twice, lightning crackling with every step as she clears a path through the Grimm. They're retreating! She's right. Just like before, the Grimm are using tactics other than mindless assault. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Relentless, Nora gives chase to the retreating Grimm as clouds gather overhead. Oh no you don't! Come back here! Nora! Out of nowhere, a burst of pink petals cascade into her, redirecting her charge to the side. It's Ren! Just let them retreat, we have more important things to attend to. No way! Another stream of petals arcs around her, forcing her to spin on her heels. One of the locals, who I can only assume are the dragon monks, strides up to her. Nora, please. Nora covers her ears with her hands, scowling and clenching her eyes shut. I don't want to hear it, Ren. I gravitate towards them since Nora is a familiar face. Something about this monk is familiar to me. I'm drawn to him as well, though I can't explain why. Is everyone okay? Distracted from their argument, the pair glance over to me. Yes, I believe so. I like his sprite too. It's pretty nice. I'm immediately struck by the monk's eyes. They're light pink, unusual for a human. Is he part faunus? Thanks for the help. Like, sorry, I was just thinking about what to say, but Nora is like going through so many different character sprites right now, and I think it really captures like how energetic and crazy she is in the show. You know, like literally she's like zipping back and forth in the show, and like that kind of energy is only matched by Oobleck, I think. So it's really cool that they're like actually animating her to show her like really crazy bubbly attitude. Sorry about barging in there. Steering an Ursa is hard. And that's also a reference to the show. You do a lot of that where you're from? No, Scudabresta doesn't have too many Grimm. The words make me pause. She had said it before, but it didn't really click until now what she was trying to tell me. Scudabresta? Yes, my home plane. Though I haven't seen it since I was a little girl. I can only blink at her. Your home plane? As in, you're from Scudabresta? Ren steps in to explain. Nora sailed in with a small fleet of her people about 7 years ago, not too long after the portals closed. They were unable to return to Scudabresta and have lived here ever since, in a colony to the south. Far from explaining anything, I'm just left with more questions and growing agitation. Sailed here? What do you mean, sailed here? Nora jumps up, holding her fists high. She's already forgotten about the Grimm, excited to share her story. That's right, pretty impressive, huh? That's... Sensing my distress, Weiss puts a hand on my shoulder and regards Ren and Nora with some concern. Ruby, what's wrong? I can't even verbalize it at first, not even sure where to begin. Scudabresta is the plane connected to Magenhild. But that portal's been broken for hundreds, no, thousands of years. Excitement fills me. The broken portal had long been a source of fascination for every scholar on every plane. Has someone on Heping solved the mystery? How could you have come from there? How did you arrive here? We were traveling through uncharted waters when a storm hit us. Somehow we crash-landed near the temple, and Ren's been looking out for us ever since. But that's impossible. What's so impossible about that? It's like saying you sailed here from the moon. No, even that's not a good enough comparison. Travel between planes isn't like physical distance. You can't just sail to another dimension. There had to have been something else, some spell, some ritual. How could you have gotten here from Scudabresta otherwise? We sailed here. But how? Okay, I don't know how many other ways I can say we sailed here on our boats. I turned to Ren in exasperation, seeking some sort of answer. Sorry, it's just as confusing to us. When I was a child, I walked down to the beach one day and there they were. And they were just there. He shakes his head and sighs before straightening his shoulders. An air of professionalism falls between us, heavy as a curtain. I'm Li Ren, one of the acolytes here. Are you the one who opened the portal on your end? I match his tone, wanting to be respectful. Yes, that was me. My mother maintains our portals, so I understand you must be feeling very drained. Let's get you somewhere comfortable and then we can discuss what brought you here. The older monks need time to recuperate too, and clean up this mess. He gestures to the remains of the battle, the grim corpses dissolving into the air. Are you a dignitary, or one of the court members? Or a mage? None of the above. She grabs his arm, shaking him roughly. She's the queen, Ren. Queen Ruby Rose. So, a red queen. Nora... She starts flailing. A red queen! A low, resonant hum fills the air. Looking around for the source, I realize it's coming from the portal. It sounds like a giant bell. Oh! Someone else is coming through. Come on, Ren, Ruby, and Ruby's friend whose name I don't know yet. Let's go say hello. Clearly uncomfortable, Ren allows Nora to drag him over to the portal, where other monks are gathering as well. I follow at a trot just in time to catch a conversation between the monks. Was anyone injured? No, not this time. Thank goodness. Alright, well, it seemed like the dragon monks had the situation under control, but I'm still glad that we came. Otherwise, maybe the situation could have been different. Thank goodness. That guy looks like he's in charge. Maybe he'll have more concrete answers for me. As we wait for the portal to open, I realize he's giving Ren a quiet lecture. You shouldn't have joined the fight, Li Ren. Considering who you are, you're too important to lose to a stray Grimm. Ren doesn't seem very bothered. His eyes are trained on the portal as it rings again. I'm no important than anyone else. But here, look, our guest is being left to fend for herself. He gestures over to me and introduces us. I'm so sorry your arrival was marked by such an inauspicious event, but your assistance in the battle was greatly appreciated. No thanks needed. It's my duty to destroy the Grimm, wherever they are. It's why I'm here to begin with. Right now, our plane is getting slowly infested with them. I was wondering if we could count on your monks to send us assistance if we have need of it. And if you could send a representative to sit on my council? The older monk is quiet. To honor the old agreements? A lot has changed here since the portals closed, Your Majesty. Why am I not surprised? Then, in a flash of brilliant light, the portal opens. Glinda hurtles through, a ray of magic whipping forth in a protective arc as she steps forward, ready for battle. She pauses when faced with nothing but a row of monks and me. Hi, Glinda. What took you so long? Glinda makes a face, relaxes her stance, and lets her magic drop unuttered. Damn it. How much time has passed since you entered the gate? I don't know, 15, 30 minutes? For me, it was but a second. I was right on your tail. How is that possible? Time is relative, young lady. It gets especially tricky when traveling to and from Heping. Clearing her throat, she finds the eye of the old monk next to me and bows low. He returns the gesture. Your queen already explained your situation, but right now we must clean up the wreckage from the fight. Then we can discuss our needs. Is there anything I can do to be of assistance? Is your magic still strong, Glinda? Of course, sir. So these two know each other? I want to help too. Your Majesty, you don't have to concern yourself with this. Please, follow me to the housing area. We'll set up a place for you to rest. Hope you brought your pajam jams. Oh god, Nora, I love her. Any kind of politics takes forever here, so whatever your wizard and the monks are gonna deal out, it's gonna take like at least 2 days. He's not impressed. Well, she's not wrong. We are here on business, so let's try to go the extra mile. I really want to help, though. We can't sit back and let everyone else take care of the dirty work. She's right. Come on, Ren, a tour can wait for later. We appreciate your enthusiasm, young queen. There's a lot of superficial damage to the surrounding buildings, but no civilian casualties. That's good. Ren explains more as we lift up rubble from the ground and start sweeping out the small pathways. This area is isolated from the villages. Right, like our Curia. Ren makes a questioning noise. That's where we keep the portals, only the wizards and I are allowed in. I can bring one guest, but that's it. Nearby, I can see the tips of Nora's ears turn red. Yeah, sorry about that. It's okay. The area is cleared up in no time, only the cracks in the walls testament to the attack. Now I'm truly exhausted, the drain of the portal and the physical labor making my armor feel heavier than ever. If it's alright, I'd like to take a look at those guest rooms now. Absolutely. I'll be your guide while you're here. I'll handle the rest from here, Rose. Ren explains a bit of the politics here as we walk. So who are the monks? The dragon monks are spiritual leaders as well as guardians and protectors of the plane. The monks protect the people, and the people help the monks with other stuff, like growing their food and helping build the towns and temples. Though the monks have plenty of farmers and masons among their rank, their main job is fighting the Grimm. So it all works out. And where do your people fit in? There were only about 50 of us at first. Our home was too crowded, so anybody brave enough to go try and find new land got lots of supplies. My family and a bunch of others sailed out. We found this place, and we decided to stay. So most of us live in the villages and follow the rules set up by the monks. Everybody who didn't like that built their own settlement outside the monks' territory, to the south. The stone path winds up a gentle slope. Though the incline isn't great, I find myself panting, legs trembling as though I had run a mile. Sorry about the climb. We'll arrange something for you on the trip back down. Even Weiss is out of breath, wow. I've been mountain climbing before, but this... Why am I so out of breath? It's not just you, this happened to our people too. Mountain air is thin. And the air gets thinner the higher you go. Just as long as we don't bump into any more Grim. I will handle them if we do. Yeah, me too! Nora bounces on the balls of her feet, slamming a fist into her open palm. That Grim will catch a nice 1-2 combo to the face. More mountains can be seen in the distance, covered in mists and clouds. Little towns and temples, barely visible in the thick fog, dot the landscape. Soon we come across a massive wooden gate, red pillars adorning either side. Running up to them, Nora cups her hand across her mouth. Running up to them, Nora cups her hands around her mouth and yells, "Hello! Anybody up top? You better not be napping on the job again, or I'm climbing up there." In response, I hear the groaning of ancient wood and the rattle of chains as the two doors open up. "Thank you!" She skips ahead of us, her warhammer bouncing against her back as she leads us into the housing area. The village is a healthy size, larger than the semi-nomadic Xiaolongs, but smaller than the city of Vale by half. There's something different here. Weiss seems to feel it too. She gazes around us at our surroundings, but there's a softer quality to her silence. Normally her eyes shine with a sharpened edge, always on alert. But not a single thread of tension remains on her frame. It hits me, suddenly. No one is scared. What? The people. No one's scared. They carry themselves like the higher castes, carefree. Why should they be scared? The Grim could attack at any time. Wooden walls can't last against any kind of siege. Oh, that. We don't have to worry about that in the villages. She trots over to the village walls, tapping a fist against their redwood. Anywhere with the walls like this are protected by the magic of the plane. Sort of like the ley lines back home? I glance over to Ren, who offers no further explanation. He said his mother opened the portals. If the power of the plane here is hereditary, like Crescent Rose, then maybe Ren and I are in the same boat. Maybe that's why I feel such a connection to him. Though we had just met, I'm comfortable with him. Nora, too. It feels like I'm meeting old friends. That's nice. Can you tell me more about it? Ren tilts his head to the side, eyeing me curiously. Didn't Crescent Rose already tell you everything? Shock leaves me near speechless. Crescent Rose doesn't talk. Oh, that's a shame. Maybe she just hasn't woken up yet, like Mertonaster. Mertonaster? That's the name of our portal. That's right. Like Crescent Rose is the power of your land and the name of your gate. Here we are protected by Lan Ze Hua, and in Skudabresta we had Magenhild. Anyway, all the spirits have been asleep ever since Magenhild was broken. Don't your nannies tell you this stuff when you're kids? No, I've never heard of a power called Mertonaster. It's just a portal. Better not let her catch you saying that. Nora, that's enough. The monks will explain it to her in due time. Aren't you a monk? Just tell me what's going on here. Ren shakes his head. I haven't been sworn in yet. Oh, come on, Ren. You know what she means. Let's take you to your quarters. I will explain everything there. Here's where you'll stay. I hope it's suitable for a queen. Please don't treat me differently than any other guest. Yeah, the Red Queen doesn't need coddling. She bounces on her heels. Still, nice place, huh? It is nice, a wide open room with only the bathing area sectioned off. Ren and I live over there with the other acolytes and orphans. Opening a window, she gestures just across the road. Families get their own houses, but if you're not in a family or if you're training to be a monk, then you stay in the boarding school area. Family. Ren, you told me your mother maintains the portals. Do you think maybe I could meet her? His shoulders, normally straight and broad, slumped slightly. No, unfortunately. When the portal shut down 7 years ago, we were stranded. I wince, feeling guilty. In our time of need, Lan Ze Hua awoke at my mother's command. They have been linked together ever since. Her duty is to commune with Lan Ze Hua and protect He Ping, so she rarely affords visitors, even me. And Lan Ze Hua is the power of the plane, like Crescent Rose. The spirit, sentient, alive. I studied He Ping and the Dragon Monks when I was a child. I never heard anything about a spirit you all worshipped. It is a fairly recent development, but... Nora butts in. They don't worship her, they work together with her. The farmers, the metalworkers, the monks, the families, the spirits, the plane, all weaving together, all important to the greater whole. The spirits existed before humans, but that doesn't make them greater than us. They need us, and we need them. A loud growl punctuates her sentence. She claps both hands over her stomach, making a face. And I need food. Hey, are you hungry yet? Ren, it's dinner time. I'll get the leaves ready for the tea, too. I can barely keep up with this girl. She changes subjects so quickly. Despite his calm exterior, Ren has no trouble matching her pace. What would you like to eat? He pats a hand on the top of her head, giving her hair an indolent ruffle. That's cute. They're really close, it seems. She claps both of her hands over his and pulls it down, holding it over her chest. Something with a lot of meat, to celebrate the Red Queen's arrival and our victory over the Grimm. His face falls flat with an accusatory glare. Well, you asked me what I wanted. If you're serious about joining the order... I am! But being a vegetarian is so hard. Ren sighs. This is obviously a conversation they've had many times before. Okay. But if you want meat, then you have to go hunt for it. It's so cute. She's actually like bouncing up and down. I've noticed that like when character sprites are animated in this game, they're usually done in like comedic moments, such as this, or like when Zwei was introduced. And so it's always nice to see like different kinds of animations. She runs right out the door to the other houses, returning in a flash with a short bow. Ruby, do you want me to grab something for you and your friend too? The Red Queen deserves a little more sustenance than rice. Not amused by that. I wave my hands frantically to distract them from any potential argument. I like rice. Don't stress out, I enjoy hunting for other people. And Ren is a great cook, you'll see. Just don't go too far from the village. No need for that. She looses an arrow through the window, snagging a pigeon right out of the air. Bam! Nora! She flinches, one eye shutting as she shrinks down a bit. Sorry, I forgot, no weapons while inside the village. I'll go up top the walls and bring back a bird for each of us, okay? Bye. She takes off again. Ren rubs his forehead. As I was saying, we've only just begun communion with Lan Ze Hua. We know about as much as you do about the spirits, but Nora and her people insist that every plane has always had one. Idly, his hands reach up to stroke through his hair, catching on the strands of pink weaving through, and always will. He smiles at me. I'm startled, realizing I had been staring at him. Will you two help me prepare dinner? Oh, of course. I don't know how much help I'll be, but certainly. We set to the task, chopping up vegetables and boiling water for the rice. A few times I have to sit down and rest, still drained from opening the portal. Ren talks while he cooks. Before there were people, before the light, there was only the darkness, and in the darkness lived the Grimm and the spirits. When light pierced through the darkness, the world was born, only to be rent asunder by hatred. I heard this story before, minus the spirits part. And so the world shattered, split apart into planes, remnants of what we were before. He turns to look at me, pale eye striking a chord within my soul. Exactly. Clutching the Xiaolong charm I wear under my shirt, I avert my gaze, feeling my face turn red. I feel like she digs him a little bit. The spirits helped us fight back against the Grimm, and then they fell asleep, one by one. Passive, yet powerful. Linked to the humans who ruled in their stead. That's certainly an interesting variation of the creation myth your religion follows. It's not our religion, it's the truth. I don't know how else to explain it, and I don't know why the spirits are awakening. But they are, and the Grimm are responding in kind. We are on the brink of a great war between the light and the dark. Right now, the only hope I can see is cooperating with our spirits once again. Ren does not say much after that, and neither do I. All I can think of is that voice in my head, the visions and nightmares, the way Crescent Rose seems to drag me around like a pet on a leash. Everything starts 7 years ago, the gates closing, Nora's people arriving without warning, the Grimm reappearing, and the attack on my parents, and all the nobles of Vale. Ozpin and Crow both thought it was part of a human's betrayal, a scheme to take the throne and attune to Crescent Rose. But that doesn't sound quite right either. It never did. Not after feeling Crescent Rose myself, not after witnessing firsthand what kind of devastating power flows through my blood. No human, no Grimm could have taken them down if they were half as powerful as I am right now. The only thing that could match Crescent Rose in strength would be another spirit? That's a scary thing to think of. A short time later, Nora returns with her kills. She hums tunelessly as she starts to clean the birds outside the door, a bucket next to her to collect the entrails and feathers. Sitting next to her on the ground, I hold out one hand as she passes me a bird so I can help as well. It's less running around than what Ren is doing inside, so it feels easier. A queen who skins and cleans her own meat. You're not fussy at all, are you? Depends on who you ask. I love it. I love you. A little bit, Red Queen. She wiggles her bloodied fingers at me. I was waiting for you, you know. Oh? Yes. Magenhill told me we would meet. Your spirit. Yes. A little piece of Magenhill lives in me, but only a little piece. She's been broken for a very long time. So how did you wind up with her? My mother was not mine by blood, but she wanted me to be her daughter. So she taught me how to attune to the power. Once she died, her piece of Magenhill became mine. What else can you tell me about the spirits? Well, for starters, there's a bunch of them, and... She points at me, eyes serious for once. Not a trace of a smile touches her lips. Your spirit touched, for sure. Just like Ren. Happiness breaks through her severity, a gleeful grin lighting up her face. It's infectious, and I find myself grinning back at her. And just like me! Oh, and your night's a little weird too. Wait, Weiss? Ask her about Mertnaster and her family sometime. Weiss and I help finish cooking, and we sit around a low table on the floor to eat. Nora pours tea for each of us, and even gives me some sugar lumps for mine without me needing to ask for it. This is so good. Ren, if you aren't careful, I might ask you to be my court member just so you can cook for me every day. You can't just keep stealing people you like under the guise of making them court members, Ruby. You flatter me. No, I agree with her. You really outdid yourself this time. Aww. Though his face remains impassive, a slight flush creeps into Ren's cheeks as he eats. I'm sure a queen is used to richer meals. Our kingdom is still recovering from the resurgent Grimm. Not a lot of time for grand feasts in between fortifying the ley lines and protecting the people. Oh, the ley lines. I've read of them, but never seen them. Quite the mystery. They keep the plane safe, that's all I can say. But if you can whip up dessert just as good as this dinner, maybe I'll spill all my court secrets to you. Oh, Jesus, Ruby. She's definitely flirting with him. The silver tongue to match the eyes. How can I resist? I don't know what their ship name is, but this is definitely a moment right here. You have to let me help you cook it, though. There's something really satisfying about eating a meal you cooked with friends. Ren makes a low noise of agreement. To my surprise, he's eating some of the birds he helped cook. That's right, eating the entire meal. He makes sure to spoon extra vegetables onto Nora's plate. Ugh. We all must make sacrifices, Nora. She gives him a sly, sideways glance. A sacrifice implies I gain something in turn. So if I eat my vegetables, can I stay here with the queen and have a sleepover instead of going home? If she wants. I don't mind it at all. Me neither. Really? Yeah, we like you, and I do need your advice on the monks here, who would make a good court member, you know? A monk who said his vows for the first time isn't allowed to travel for a while, so definitely you want one of the older ones. What about among your people, Nora? You told me you were a chief. Oh, that. She waves the thought aside. That's just a title. My mom was a chief, but when she died, we looked to the monks for leadership. My only perk is I get to see the portals when they open. But even then, that's just because I'm friends with the monks, so... I mean, if you just want some Scuda people on your side, most people would jump at the chance. But for an official council type person, you need a monk. Even as the day moves on, it remains comfortably warm inside that guest house, cooled only by the occasional breeze. Ren, Nora, Weiss, and I take our time with dinner and spend the next few hours laughing and talking. A ray of dappled sunlight hits me just right, making me drowsy after the big meal. Just when I think I might nod off right in the middle of conversation, the door opens and Glinda enters the main room, searching for me. Your Majesty, I was told you'd be here. Blinking away my sleepiness, I stand up to greet her. Did you get to talk to the monks about getting us a court member? She huffs, not a good sign. It's not going to be that easy. She motions to Ren and Nora. You two, acolytes, I thank you for escorting the queen, but I must speak with her in private. Nora jumps up at once, bouncing up from one foot to the other. Sure thing, I need to get stuff for the sleepover anyway. Come on, Ren. Ren doesn't have much time for farewells, just giving me a fond wave as he's literally dragged out the front entrance. That's typical Ren and Nora right there. Waiting for them to leave, Glinda carefully watches them from out the window as they make their way across the road. That girl was one of them, wasn't she? The Scuda longboatmen. I'm not sure what to believe anymore. She rubs her temples, frowning deeply. Ruby, there's been some troubling developments. Does it have anything to do with the things called spirits? Glinda's attention snaps to me, a question in her eyes. Ren and Nora, the acolytes, told me about it. She almost drops her wand in shock. They did? So the monks don't keep it a secret at all. I take it you were unaware powers similar to Crescent Rose existed? Not responding at first, Glinda just glares at Weiss. Snarky. Glinda, just what is going on? Her edges soften when she meets my gaze, clearly distressed. I don't know. Crescent Rose was an anomaly, a byproduct of the ley lines. Or so we believed. But now, I suddenly feel bad for Glinda. She really seems distraught. Ren told me there was someone here like me, someone attuned to the power of the plane. The spirit, or whatever you want to call it. I know. The monks took me to meet her. And Ruby, she's just like you. Really? Excitement bubbles up in me. Can I meet her too? Is she really like me? Does her spirit talk to her? Is there a way we can get the powers of the other planes to fight against the Grimm? Does she know about Crescent Rose? Oh, what if she could help me control it? She's actually vibrating right now, holy crap. Rose. I pipe down. Sorry, but still, can I meet her? I'll see if I can arrange it. Will you be alright here alone tonight? I must go to the other villages and examine their magic. The redwood walls, they almost function like our ley lines, except they are independent of one another. Well, you do that. I'm going to see Ren's mother, and finally get some solid answers. Nora takes us for a trip through the village and nearby temple. She excitedly points out every item or place of interest. I ask her more about Skudabresta, but every time I do, she shrugs and brushes the subject aside. I was just a girl when we left. I couldn't tell you much. Huping is my home. Eventually, Ren joins us as well. He's less talkative than before, a heavy slump in his shoulders as he walks. Tired? A little. Ren and I look at each other, having spoken at the same time. Okay, lots of flirting here. Heh. When night falls, the redwood gates are sealed shut, and we return to my temporary quarters. Though I want to stay up and talk some more, as soon as I lay my head down on the bedroll, I fall asleep. It's a good, genuine sleep. No nightmares rattle inside my skull. Until suddenly, they do. Stop! Sitting up straight, I breathe heavily and stare out into the darkness. Everyone else is still asleep. Covering my face with a palm, I get my heart rate under control before lying down, still unsettled. No, I can't ignore this. Throwing my blanket off, I try to step carefully around my sleeping companions. Everyone else is spread out across the floor in their own bedrolls, breathing lightly in their sleep. Stepping towards the door, I pick up Little Thorn from where she's leaning against the wall. There are Grim outside. His hands wrap around my wrist, stopping me. If I hadn't recognized his voice, I might have shrieked. I grit my teeth, keeping quiet. Where? How many? Outside the walls. Letting go of me, he opens the door and waits for me to exit first. With a parting glance at our sleeping companions, I follow him outside, climbing a sturdy ladder to the top of the wall. The pressure in my head grows with every rung. When I reach the top, I look out, seeing nothing but impenetrable darkness. Where are they? I hold Little Thorn to my chest, ready to thump anything away that might leap out at me. We keep walking until we reach a guard post, populated by a single woman. She nods at Ren and stares at me, obviously curious about the stranger. Any breaches? No, none of them have tried charging tonight. She has a small kettle next to her, the strong tea so hot it steams in the relative coolness of the air. I decline a cup when she offers it to me. I don't see any. They learn to hide the glow of their eyes at night, but I could rattle them up if you want. Is that wise? I turn my attention out into the night, focusing harder. Every so often, I can see a shifting of the dark, but nothing more than a vague idea and the intensifying pressure in my skull. They really can't get in here. No, and it makes them angry. One time, a blood pack tore a tree out of the ground and tossed it into the village proper. Roots and all. A blood bag? Guess you don't have them where you live? I shake my head. I'll show you them tomorrow, if they're still outside the gates in the morning. You know, you and I could take these Grim right now, Ren. Ah! This time I really do jump in fright, whirling around with Little Thorn pointing directly underneath Nora's chin. She brushes it aside with a careless swipe of her hands. Why'd you guys run off without me? You were asleep. Yeah, but I'm always up for an adventure. This hardly counts as an adventure. I was just showing the queen we have nothing to fear with these walls in place. Yeah, sucks all the fun right out of Grim hunting. It's not supposed to be fun. Let's go with this one, if you say so. I think about the Grim back on my home plane, how our protective wards don't even work half the time they're supposed to. And my parents, that night. If you say so. Come on, I saw you running through the gate like a mad woman. You were having the time of your life. I never really thought of it as fun. Satisfying, yeah, but... Looking away from me, Nora keeps her gaze trained on the darkness outside. We'll just signal to the other villages to double-check their perimeters tonight. Nora sighs, leaving down the ladder without another word. As long as there isn't a breach, they can't get inside. It's hard to believe, even if I've seen it with my own eyes. This power, It's so much greater than mine. How does yours work? Clutching tighter to Little Thorn, I purse my lips together. It doesn't. Each town, I mean, the towns that are left, they have walls and the ley lines go out from the heart, from Beacon, my city, and they spread out like veins as a warning system. That's it? Sometimes it keeps them out, but usually it's wizards or fighters, or anyone with a semblance that can do damage. Fire works pretty good too. Mainly, Crescent Rose just makes me more powerful. Ren keeps his expression neutral. But his hand slowly reaches up to cover his mouth, as though physically restraining himself from saying something. Yeah, I know. Pretty pathetic, huh? Ruby. I see now why you want to meet with my mother so badly. A ray of hope, I latch onto it. If I can tap into even a fraction of the power she wields, or learn how to harness Crescent Rose better, then yes. Ren, I must meet your mother. Please. It's not that simple. In the morning, I'll show you, if the Grimm have cleared out. If they haven't, I'll clear them out myself. Alright, and we've reached the next day. That was a big chunk of the story that we just went through, but I think this is a good place to take a break. So this episode we went into Lan Ze Hua, the plane of Ren, and the plane of Scudabresta is not available to us right now. The portal is broken, and so we have Nora living in the realm of Ren, even though she is originally from another realm. And so, but now we found out that each main character so far seems to be tied to the spirit of their respective plane, like Weiss, like Ruby, like Nora, like Ren. And so, even though each character might not be a monarch of their respective plane, it definitely paints them as a very important character to the story. So that's very interesting. But yeah, this episode was really fun. I really enjoy the character sprite art for Nora and Ren. They're both really, really cute, and the writing captures both of their personalities excellently. Like Nora as the person who always changes subjects, who is always very bubbly, very energetic, and who can get serious when she needs to be very fast and is a frightening fighter. And then you have Ren, who is like very calm and nonchalant, but is a very sincere person at heart. And the flirting scenes with him and Ruby were very interesting. So even though I personally have my sights on Penny, I feel like this is a moment in the game where the developers are kind of like nudging at Ruby or the player that a romance is possible with Ren. So very interesting. But that's all for now, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Ruby Summer Rose Court. Until then.
You so fucking precious when you smile. Yeah. Girl, I lose myself up in those eyes.